Hi, it's Pauline from MotherBunch Crochet. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a mini Mavis bag. So you can look at the written pattern on my blog as well. I'll put the link below. You'll need a 3.5mm hook or E-size hook and some 4-ply yarn. You probably only need about 5 grams. What I'm using today is this Moda Vera mini, which is 100% cotton. I got it from Spotlight in a pack that had like 10 different colors. It doesn't actually say the ply on there, but I'm pretty sure this is close to a 4-ply, so this is what I'm going to use. So let's get into the pattern. So just start with make a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 4 and join with a slip stitch to this first chain to make a circle, which is quite a small circle that we've created, so it's a bit hard to see there, but now we're going to just work into the center of that loop for the first row. So we're going to chain 2, which counts as our first double crochet, or chain 3 if you prefer. I like chain 2 as first double crochet. So that's US terms, or a treble if you are working in UK terms. So we're just going to do now 11 double crochets or UK trebles, all worked into that circle. That we just formed. So just go ahead and work those. So we're counting that initial chain 2 as the first one, so we'll end up with 12 at the end of the row. So go ahead and do those US double crochets or UK trebles. Okay, so once you've got your 12 double crochets or 11 double crochets plus the chain 2, join with a slip stitch into the top of that chain 2. So we just need to go through the actual chain. And just pull the slip stitch tight. Okay, so now that we've done the slip stitch, we've got our nice circle, and just to start the next row, do a slip stitch into the gap between the chain and the first DC, so that we're starting from here. And now we're going to do chain 4, and this is counting as our first double crochet and chain 2. And so then we're going to repeat double crochet, chain 2 all the way around, and just work in between the stitches rather than into those top loops. Just work into here between the posts. Do chain 2. Next one, DC, chain 2. So you can see that we're starting to form that netting shape now. So just continue that the whole way around. So we're finishing the row with chain 2, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to the third chain of this starting chain 4. Pull the slip stitch tight, and then do another slip stitch into that chain 2 gap to start the next row, just so that then when you start this row it's offset into that gap. So in row 3 we're going to be increasing, So we're going to do chain 4 again, which always counts as our first double crochet in chain 2, and then we're going to do another double crochet back into this same space. So we've got 2 worked into that same space. So then chain 2 and do a double crochet into the next space, chain 2, and then we're going to do 2 repeats of the double crochet into this next space. So we do 1, chain 2, another one back into that same space. So now you can see we're doing 2, 1, 2. We're going to repeat that pattern the whole way around. So go ahead and keep working those. Double crochet, chain 2, then 2 double crochet repeats into this next space. So you can see 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So keep working that all the way around, and at the end of this row you'll have 18 double crochets. So we're going to just count them and check that we've got the right space there. Yep. So we need to have 18 double crochets, or 18 of the chain 2 spaces. So like the last row, we finish with chain 2 and join with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain of that starting chain 4. Just join that, pull that tight, and then do another slip stitch into that gap, because that's where we want to start the next row. So that's our last row of expanding. So now we're going to just do 1 double crochet into each chain space all the way around. So again, start the row with chain 4. That's our first double crochet plus chain 2, and then we're just working 1 double crochet into each of those chain spaces from the previous row. And remember, you're always doing chain 2 between the double crochets. So I'm nearly at the end of this row, and you can see it's actually difficult to see where the row started once you stop expanding, because this first bit will sort of curl over like that, our starting chain. So you might want to, from here on, just use a stitch marker to mark where that starting chain is, so you don't miss it, and just keep going around in a continuous loop. So I still need to work 1 more double crochet in here, and chain 2, and again joining to the 3rd chain of the starting chain 4 using a slip stitch, and then do 1 more slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So you can see it's starting to curl up now. It's still a little bit flat, so we're going to repeat this row 3 more times, and you'll see that it'll start to straighten out and give you the sides of the bags. So just go ahead and repeat those until you've got 7 rows. So just always starting with chain 4, and then double crochet, chain 2, all the way around, just working 1 double crochet into each chain 2 space from the previous row. So you should always have 18 double crochets or 18 chain spaces in each row from rows 4 to 7. So you can see after, so what have we got, 1 2 3 4 5 rows, it's starting to really curve into that bag shape. So we still need to do 2 more rows exactly like that. Go ahead and work those. So at the end of row 7 you should have something that looks like this. And now we're going to start gathering in and doing the handles, and we'll just measure that to give you an idea of the size. So mine is about 11 centimeters across and 7 centimeters long. That's after I've, you know, stretched it and flattened it out. So what we need to do now is we're just going to work in the first 5 of these squares, or chain 2 spaces. So 1 2 3 4 5. So we'll just chain 1, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets into each of those first 5 squares. For the last one, I like to actually work into the double crochet stitch because it just kind of anchors it and stops it from sliding across. So we've got 5 now, 5 squares that we've worked and gathered in a bit. We're going to chain 1 and turn it around and work back just along that row of single crochets that we just made. And so in this row we're going to do single crochet 2 together, so we'll end up with 5 stitches at the end of this row. And we'll chain 1, turn the work once more, and we'll do 1 single crochet in each stitch across, and then cut the yarn. So at the moment I'm not going to sew this in right now. You can sew it in now if you prefer, but I'm just going to pull it tight like that. So you can see this edge now we've gathered in quite a lot compared to the other side, and started to form that shape of the bag, like the Mavis String Bag. So what you need to do now is count from the edge of this gathered section. We count 4 squares which we're going to leave unworked. So that's 1 2 3 4, and then in the 5th one I'm going to put my hook in through the stitch and join a new piece of yarn here. So just pull that up. And we'll chain 1 and then just work over that loose tail to hold it into place, and we're going to single crochet, do 2 single crochets in the next 5 squares. So if we have a look at the top now, we'll just check that it's even. So we've got our gathered section, our first gathered section that was 5 spaces, and then we've got 1 2 3 4 that are unworked. Our second gathered section, 1 2 3 4 5, and on this side we should have 4 unworked, 1 2 3 4. So we've got that nice and even. So we're going to do the same as before, chain 1 and work, turn the work and do 2 single crochet 2 together across this row. Okay, chain 1, turn the work, and we'll do 1 single crochet in each stitch. And now don't cut the yarn. We're going to keep working continuously to make the strap and the top border. So we're going to chain one and then start working down this side. Chain one and do a single crochet into the side of those 3 rows that we just did of single crochet. So do one in each row. Okay, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets into each of those unworked squares. And then again, we're at the next gathered section, so do 1 single crochet into the side of each row. So that'll be 3 stitches here. So now we want to start forming the strap. So it's going to go in a loop around to here. So my preferred method is the foundation single crochet. You can do a chain here instead, but then at the end you'll need to do another row of single crochet the whole way around just to get that thickness right. So we're going to do 15 foundation single crochets, or foundation double crochets in UK term. So to start the first one, we'll join it to the top of the single crochet, the first single crochet in that row. So put your hook under the top loops and pull up a loop. So that loop is basically the chain stitch, and then we're working a single crochet through that by pulling up another loop, and then yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. So start the next stitch by putting your hook under that base loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So you want to keep repeating that till you've got 14, and the 15th one will join back to the other side of the gathered section. So go ahead and work those foundation single crochets. So I've done the 14 foundation single crochets, and now I'll show you how to join it back to the top of this, the other end of that gathered section. So insert your hook under the base of the last stitch and pull up a loop, and then we're going to insert the hook under the top 2 loops of the single crochet on the end of that row of the gathered section, and pull up a loop going through that first loop you did for the foundation single crochet, and now finish off as normal. So yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, and you can see it's take the hook out, maybe you can see how it's joined back to the other side of that gathered section. And so now we need to just repeat the same thing again, working a single crochet down 1 in each side of those rows, and then along the top of here we're doing 2 in each square. So back to the next gathered section again, 1 single crochet in the end of each row. Okay, and now we need to form our second handle, so we're going to do the same as before, 15 foundation single crochets. Okay, so for the 15th one, like before, pull up the first loop, then insert your hook under the top of the single crochet at the end of the gathered section, and pull through both the single crochet in that first loop, then yarn over and draw through the 2 loops to finish. And now we can do a slip stitch to the first single crochet from that row, and we're finished. If you did a chain for the handles, you might want to just do another row of single crochet the whole way around the top of the bag, and I'll sew that in later so we can see this is what the bag looks like. And to give you a comparison, this was the mini French market bag, so it is a bit longer, a bit bigger. It's about 9 centimeters wide by 12 centimeters long, and the mini French market bag was only about 8 centimeters long, but about the same width. So it's suitable for a bigger doll. If you have a look in comparison to a Bratz doll, you can see it's sort of almost half the length of the Bratz doll. If you're making it to go with a doll, you probably want to use it for a bigger doll than that. The mini French market bag is a better size for the Bratz doll. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. You can find more patterns and tutorials on my blog, motherbunch.wordpress.com. Thanks for watching.